What do you do with students that just don't seem to respond to how you're teaching? Hi guys, welcome to Talk and Chalk. I'm Beck. I'm an assistant principal in Southwest Sydney, and this is just me, unedited today, talking about your learning support team and how you can use the learning support team. So I'm just going to go straight into it today. I'm currently the learning support team coordinator at my school, and I've been working with learning support teams since I started teaching. The first job I ever had was in a special needs environment. So as soon as I went into mainstream, I went in with a fair amount of experience in terms of working with students with special needs, and also those students who obviously may not meet the criteria for having a diagnosed disability or a learning need or anything like that, but they still need additional support in the classroom. So ever since I started teaching, it's kind of always been my go-to and always a bit of a passion of mine as well. So what I'm going to do in this video today is just talk to you about the steps that you would follow if you have noticed that a child in your class is not responding to what you're doing in the classroom, what steps you can take, and what methods you might be able to use in the classroom to be able to cater for that child. So before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you click down below, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and all my follow, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, and everything is below as well. So let's get into it. So let's say you've got a student in the classroom, and you've been working with them for a little while. Let's say at this point it's only been a few weeks. It's term one, you've had that child for a few weeks, and already you can see that they're struggling behind the rest of the cohort. The first thing that you need to do, obviously, is go straight to that student's record and see if there's a history already of intervention for that child. So in a student record card, now this is in the New South Wales public system, I can't speak for other systems. I don't know exactly what would be in there, but I would assume that there would be something in that student's record if they've already been referred to the learning support team, if they've already seen a counsellor and had assessments done, or if they've already been referred to a speech therapist or an occupational therapist or a behavioural optometrist or a physiotherapist or anything like that. So check the records first and see what's already happened. If there is nothing there, then what you need to do is talk to your supervisor. Before you even go to the learning support team, you need to talk to your supervisor. Your supervisor is an experienced person who will be able to give you suggestions for differentiation, for modification, for intervention that can happen in your classroom. If you're in New South Wales as well, you may have an instructional leader on site. You can always see the instructional leader if that intervention pertains to literacy or numeracy or the targets that the school has set for the students. If it's a concern about a physical need, so cerebral palsy or something like that, then the instructional leader wouldn't be part of that role. That's definitely a different step that you need to take. So once you've spoken to your supervisor, head teacher, assistant principal, whatever it might be, you need to put into place the suggestions that they've had and document it. You need to document how you've done it, what KLA it pertains to, if it's meant changes in the classroom, in the physical layout of the classroom or anything like that. And then also document if the student responds, whether it's quickly, slowly, not at all. So you need to leave it about at least 8 weeks before you then decide whether or not that needs to go to the learning support team. And when it does go to the learning support team, you still need to talk to your supervisor about that and say, look, they're still not responding to what I'm doing. I'm concerned there might be something else. I'd like to put in a referral for the learning support team. Now, a lot of schools have their own documentation on what to do. So in our system, it's a checklist of different academic things that you might be concerned about. I literally just sit there and tick, 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 put some comments below. And then we also like to get some signatures from parents to say that child has permission to work with the counsellor, to be assessed by the counsellor, or to share any information if they are already seeing therapists or anything outside of the school. When you go to the learning support team, you'll probably be asked to just give an overview of your concerns and what's going on. Because me as the learning support team coordinator, I might not have actually engaged with that student. I might kind of know who they are, but I don't know the specific technicalities about what's going on in the classroom and what your concerns are. So I need that kind of overview so that I can help make a decision about where to go next. And if the counsellor is able to attend those meetings, then the counsellor can get that perspective from you as well. Usually my next step is, depending on the need, obviously, but usually the next step would be getting the counsellor to come in and do an observation, or for me to go in and do an observation. So because I've got a special needs degree and I've got all of that back history in there, sometimes I might go in and give some feedback on where to. So like I said, your supervisor might be a wealth of knowledge, but there might be some experience I might have had that they may not have had in their career. So it's always good to get a second set of eyes. And if the counsellor is unavailable, then the learning support team coordinator might come in and do some of those observations for you. So be prepared. That's not a judgment on your teaching. It's not a judgment on the student. It's just to get a different set of eyes, to see what's going on, to see if maybe there's an observation that you might not have realised being in that teacher role while you're there, because we've got a whole class of kids to watch. We can't pick up everything, and we don't expect you to. So don't ever think that by asking for help from the learning support team, it's a judgment that you're not doing your job. It's actually saying that you are doing your job very, very well, because you're utilising the resources and experiences in your school to better meet the needs of that child. Okay. From there, the counsellor might decide to do some assessments, and there's a wide variety of assessments that they can do, cognitive assessments, behaviour assessments, all those sorts of things. And sometimes they'll require the parent to also do an assessment too. And please, when the counsellor talks to you about filling those in, really pay attention to how they're describing levels that you tick in the boxes. So it depends on the assessment that you're doing, but what exactly does sometimes mean? What exactly does most of the time mean? Really clarify that with your counsellor. And if you are unsure at any point in any of those surveys, go and talk to them. Give them examples of what the student is doing in the classroom and how that would fit that criteria in the survey. And they'll go off and do their assessments and results and put together a report for you. And it does take a while to do that, especially if your counsellor is only on site 1 day a week, which is what we've got at the moment, which is normal across a lot of schools. So you just have to wait for that to happen. This can be a long process. So you need to be prepared that you're not going to get support overnight for something like that. It takes time. There's paperwork, there's policies and procedures to follow, and there's a caseload already there when you come with a new student. So you've got to be prepared to be part of that queue. And unfortunately, it's just the way it is. My hair's going a bit crazy there. I think I'll fix that up. So when they've come back to you, the counsellor comes back to you with their report. They'll come back as a learning support team. They'll meet with you as well as the class teacher. And there'll be recommendations in there. And it could be a recommendation for the parent to seek outside speech therapy or occupational therapy or something along those lines. And then there will be suggestions for you as the classroom teacher on what you can do in the classroom to help support those child's needs. Because regardless of whether the child needs speech therapy or not, that's not a magic pill that's suddenly going to fix everything. They're still going to go away and make time to do that. You still need to support them in the classroom as best as you can, regardless of what that is. That if there's a diagnosis of some kind suddenly, that's not a barrier that stops you from teaching them. That just then helps guide you as to how to meet their needs in the classroom and what you can do there. So if there's something severe, it'd be great if you can meet with any of the other medical professionals or supporters or agencies or speeches or whatever that you need to meet with to help guide you in the classroom. And then that's where you go with the child, and hopefully they'll respond to those interventions. If it comes back that there's just differentiation in the classroom that's needed, then you've just got to go with that. Sometimes those kids who are falling behind just need a bit of a leg up, and we just need to move past, or we think they might be intellectually moderate or something like that. We think they might have autism. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they've got the diagnosis or not. You still do what you can in the classroom. Okay. So if a child does come back with some kind of formal diagnosis like autism or anything like that, you can possibly apply for a special class unit. You could possibly apply for funding. It depends on the severity of the needs and whatever the diagnosis is. There's no cut and dry way to do it. So the counsellor can help you, or the learning support team coordinator would work on an access request for whatever it is that you're going to go for, whether it's funding or a placement. And you as a class teacher will need to help provide some statements in that as well. And again, this is in the New South Wales system. I'm sure other ones have something similar as well, where you would need to provide documentation for that. But this also comes down to what the parents want. If the parents want the student to stay in mainstream, then as a teacher, you still support that child, regardless of whether you think they belong in a different setting or not. They are legally entitled to an education, and as educators, we should be providing the best education that we can for every student that's in our classrooms. There's no if or buts about that. It means, though, that you will need to write an individual education program for that student, which has specific targets in the program and how you're going to meet those goals. And if you're lucky, it might mean having a school learning support officer, what used to be called a teacher's aide, in the classroom to support you. There's no guarantee on how often that could be done. It might mean possible funding for you to go and seek professional development on that need, or give you access to online training, those sorts of things. So depends on the need of the student. But again, don't stop conversing with your learning support team. There's still a wealth of knowledge, especially the counsellor who is trained, and you've got the learning support team coordinator on there, and any teachers that are usually part of that team bring some kind of skill set to the table. Utilize them. Talk to the teachers there. Go, because chances are they might know someone else in the school who has worked with that student before and had success, or who has worked with a similar need and had success as well. They're there to help guide you. They're a network, they're a communicator. And if they don't know how to help you, they will go off and make that connection to do that. They will talk to the principal. They will make sure they're engaged with that child and meeting their child's needs. And just make sure you document everything. Make sure you document, when you went to learning support team, when you started putting different methods in place, and when you, assessed any kind of progress. Because even if you're putting in all the intervention strategies possible that everyone's throwing at you and it's still not working, something else has to be going on, and we need to seek a pediatrician assessment possibly. So just make sure you're constantly staying in communication. If you're staying in your classroom with the door closed and just doing everything yourself and it's not working, then really you're not utilizing those skills and resources in your school. And that's what the learning support team is there for, to help you. So, okay, I'm sure I've missed things there, but if you've got any questions at all, please comment down below or send me a message on the Facebook page or on Twitter. I always answer. And if you haven't done so yet, I'd love it if you click to subscribe. I'll put my button down the bottom there. You just hover over the top of that and the little subscribe button comes up. I'll chuck one of my other videos up the top here, and I'd love it if you clicked down below to just check out my other links as well, or to comment. Give me a thumbs up if this was helpful at all, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.